You broke free of my spell. I like that.
Demon, death is too good for you.
Come here, little boy, and show me what you got.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at Easter eggs in Netflix's Castlevania that could only be spotted by fans of the games. We're also including a few from the sequel series Nocturne, so look out for spoilers ahead.
Begin.
The Cyclops. Let's start with an early one. In the first season, Trevor Belmont meets the Speakers, a group of magic-wielding travelers that the church tries to use as scapegoats for Dracula's rage. Their elder asks Trevor for help in finding his granddaughter Cipha. He finds her underground, turned to stone by the beam of a Cyclops.
Cyclops.
Only after defeating it is Cipha freed from her fate. Longtime fans will know this is exactly how the pair meets in the NES classic Castlevania III: Dracula's Curse, which the show takes much of its inspiration from. Additionally, she's mistaken for a man due to her clothing until the end of the game, which their meeting in the show also calls back to.
I wish Seekers wouldn't do that.
What?
Dress the girls like boys.
It's safer when we travel.
Olrox the Aztec. Castlevania Nocturne introduces us to a ton of new characters, including Olrox, an Aztec vampire who killed Richter's mother when he was a boy. Olrox plays a much bigger role in the show's story than he ever did in the games, but there are still several similarities that players likely picked up on.
I know that feeling. That pain, that hate, that burning, unendurable need for retribution.
He appears as a boss in Symphony of the Night, and the showrunners kept his bright purple attire. Other elements brought into the show are his fondness for floating and the use of flaming, flying skulls as an attack. However, the show gives him the power to turn into a giant snake, rather than whatever this thing is. An accurate portrayal. Of course, we've seen lots of other attacks adapted from the games into the show, with Alucard being one of the biggest examples. Throughout the series, we see him use many techniques from Symphony of the Night, undeniably his most famous appearance. During fights, he gives off a faint red glow when he moves quickly, mimicking his movement in the game. Similarly, his sword often glows with blue flame, his standard attack. He can also make it float like the unlockable sword familiars. In Season 4, he even performs the same jump kick players utilize as him. Speaking of Season 4, his outfit and shield are also incredibly accurate.
As if my day wasn't going badly enough. It's Trevor Belmont.
Hidden Meal.
You mean to stake me?
You want me to?
What?
You didn't kill me before. You're not going to kill me now.
One feature seen in most Castlevania games is hidden food found within walls. Players low on health would do well to whip just about every wall they come across. While we never see any characters restore themselves with a secret meal, there is a blink and you'll miss it reference to one of the franchise's biggest tropes. During the fight between Dracula and Alucard in Season 2's 7th episode, there's what looks to be a chicken leg uncovered by a broken wall. It's off to the side in a dark room in which a fight is taking place, so it's pretty hard to make out. But it's still cool the creators took the time to include this silly bit of Castlevania history. The Pirate of the Roads. The original show's first 2 seasons adapt the plot of Dracula's Curse, which follows Trevor, Cipha, and Alucard going up against Dracula. However, there was a 4th hero in the game, a pirate named Grant Dasty. Creator Warren Ellis, originally envisioning this as a movie, left Grant out since a pirate character wouldn't fit with the landlocked setting, nor was there enough time to do another character justice. It later became a series, with Grant still nowhere to be found, but keen-eared fans may have picked up on some references to him. In the first episode of Season 3, Trevor makes mention of a silly land-based pirate.
Buying some insurance. Between the wandering packs of night creatures and the brigands and opportunistic criminals, and that one guy with the horse-drawn sailboat on wheels that called himself the Pirate of the Roads.
Saint-Germain also makes mention of this unseen character, calling him an imbecile.
I trust this isn't a bolder breed of brigand, or that imbecile who put wheels on his boat again.
The succubus. Drolta is one of the main villains in Nocturne, basically acting as the second-in-command to the big bad vampire messiah. However, while she initially appears as a regular vampire, she later transforms into a succubus. Fans of the games have gone up against many of Drolta's kind before. It was cool to see her utilize similar battle techniques, like extending the points on her wings to stab her enemies. Of course, Drolta didn't make it out of Season 1 alive. Alucard appeared during the cliffhanger finale to put an end to her. It's actually quite fitting that he was the one to do so. In Symphony of the Night, the succubus tries to manipulate him with a twisted vision of his mother's death.
You must despise humans. They are to be your prey.
What?
Better for them to die than to let them compound their sins.
Carmilla's Mask. The vampire Carmilla has given us several boss fights, but in her first appearance, Castlevania II Simon's Quest, she took on the form of a giant floating mask. In the animated series, she's humanoid much like most other vampires, though the creators still paid homage to her first outing.
Virgin's blood. Oh, bless your dead little hearts. You do still love me.
Season 3 introduces the Council of Sisters, Carmilla's fellow vampiric rulers that don't appear in the games. All three of the characters wear a ring that highly resembles Carmilla's mask from Simon's Quest. Lenore wears it on her finger, Morana uses it as an earring, and Striga wears it in her hair. The mask version also bleeds from its left eye as an attack, symbolism that's used in Carmilla's final fight. Barkerville. This one's a deep cut, not only for fans of Castlevania, but for those of Giant Bomb. In 2014, several members of the site's staff were streaming Simon's Quest. One of them, Brad Shoemaker, remarked how when he was a kid he used to refer to one of the music tracks, the now famous Bloody Tears, as Barkerville.
When I was a kid, I decided that the song was entitled Barkerville.
Can you explain the context for that?
The discussion led to many laughs, and they even came up with some words to go along with the melody.
To live somewhere.
I'm going to Barkerville, gonna whip some dudes out in Barkerville.
It became a running joke in the community, some of which apparently worked on Castlevania Nocturne. One scene in the 5th episode takes place in a graveyard, and one of the headstones is for Bradley S. Barkerville. The Shopkeeper's Wares. In the 2nd episode of Season 3, Isaac the Forge Master visits a shop in Tunis. The proprietor owns many artifacts, some of which are taken straight from the games.
I smell you, Forge Master.
Interesting. Not many people can smell an education.
He's holding a stone mask, a beneficial piece of armor seen in a handful of entries. Scattered around the shop, and therefore harder to see, are many others. You can spot a Moai, modeled after the famous Easter Island heads, a death doll, which revives the player upon death, a Mobius brooch, which lets you use sub-weapons without consuming hearts, and many others. Most of these items are found in Curse of Darkness, which heavily focuses on Isaac and Hector's relationship, so it's fitting that the former should find them here.
There you are. Are you breathing, betrayer?
We publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Belmont Hold's treasures. Similar to the Shopkeeper's Wares, but on a much larger scale, the Belmont Hold features a ton of Easter eggs only fans of the games will notice. When Trevor, Cipha, and Alucard first enter the family's massive estate, players and newcomers marvel in all there is to behold. One shot features 4 unique but run-down statues. Each of these appears in a save room of 4 different games. Another shot shows a cabinet full of various monster parts, all of which appear as enemies throughout the series. Not only that, but they're each numbered to match the order of the Master Librarian's enemy list in Symphony of the Night. In a later episode, Cipha finds a glyph for Dominus Anger, a powerful fire attack from the games. We then get to see Dracula use that very attack in the next episode.
I am Vlad Dracula Tepesh, and I have had enough!
Did you spot any of these Easter eggs? Are there any cool ones we left off? Share your Castlevania knowledge in the comments below.
If you want to defeat Elizabeth, you've no choice but to trust me.
There is always a choice.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.